Okay, let's unpack this. Starting a small business is the dream for so many, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But, you look beyond the exciting magazine covers, and the reality is often, well, nerve-wracking,
Hmm.
definitely liberating sometimes, but also difficult, challenging, time-consuming, overwhelming,
Mm. All of the above.
but also fun
Mm.
and joyous, productive, and let's be honest, pretty uncertain a lot of the time.
That's a really good way to put it. It's the whole spectrum, isn't it? It's easy to get caught up in just the being your own boss's excitement.
Totally.
But the real key, like for building something that actually lasts, is understanding and prepping for all of it. The good, the bad, the kind of messy in-between parts.
Exactly. And to help us, cut through the noise and really get to what matters, we're diving into Stephen D. Strauss's The Small Business Bible.
Ah, yeah, a
Think
classic.
of this as like your express lane to understanding a huge range of things you need to consider as an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I mean, this book is a powerhouse, right? It covers everything from the nuts and bolts of hiring,
Yep.
navigating franchises, running a business from home, bootstrapping on a tight budget, marketing, legal stuff. It's packed.
It really is comprehensive. It gives you that foundation.
Yeah.
It's not just skimming one area. It hits all those essential building blocks.
Yeah. It even has a sample business plan in there.
Which is super helpful for anyone wanting to get a solid grasp and, quickly. It's a fantastic resource.
And that's basically our mission for you today. We're pulling out the crucial insights, the actionable knowledge, maybe even a few surprises from these pages about starting and running your own thing.
Right. Aiming for those aha moments.
Exactly. Give you multiple angles, do it thoroughly, but, hopefully without making your head spin. So where do we even kick this off? Let's start with maybe the most fundamental question. Are you actually cut out to be an entrepreneur?
That's such a critical starting point. The book tackles this head on, this idea that, well, entrepreneurship sounds great, but it's definitely not for everyone.
Right.
And it actually includes a self-assessment quiz, a good way to just start reflecting it honestly.
Yeah, it's not about crushing dreams or anything, but just setting realistic expectations, getting that self-awareness going from the jump. And some of the questions, they really make you stop and think,
Mm.
like risk tolerance. Are you someone who kind of likes the feeling of being on the edge a bit? Or are you more, tried and true?
Big difference.
It's huge. And your answer gives you a score. 5 points for liking risk, down to 1 for preferring predictability. It really highlights how much entrepreneurs often need that autonomy, that self-direction.
And it's not just about being a thrill seeker versus being cautious, is it? It's deeper. It's about your fundamental comfort level with, well, uncertainty.
Yeah, which is like the constant state when you're running your own show.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Another big one in the quotes is leadership. Do you naturally step up? Or are you a leader only when necessary? Or is it just like not really your thing? Again, points help you gauge that.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the really practical stuff, financial resilience.
Mm.
Can you and your family actually handle not having a regular paycheck?
Mm-hmm.
And for how long? That's huge.
That really brings home the personal sacrifice involved, doesn't it? It's not just your comfort, it's the family weathering those financial bumps, especially early on.
Totally. These questions aren't just like theoretical. They force you to face the real world stuff. Does your personality, your situation, actually line up with what it takes?
Exactly.
The quiz also asks about working alone, how you handle pressure, which, let's face it, is constant,
Oh, yeah.
and a few others. The scoring's interesting. Like 80 to 100 suggests you probably have the temperament and skills.
Yeah.
60 to 79, maybe potential that could develop.
Hmm.
Below 60, the book kind of gently suggests thinking about other paths.
But it's crucial to remember, like you said, it's not a judgment.
Yeah.
It's a tool for self-understanding,
Right.
recognizing your strengths, your potential weak spots, so you can lean into the strengths or figure out how to tackle the challenges.
Right. It's about going in with your eyes wide open, knowing your own operating style.
And how that fits or doesn't fit with the demands of running a business.
Okay, so let's say you've done the quiz. You've been honest with yourself. And that entrepreneurial fire, still burning. What's the next big step, according to the book?
Education. But it stresses that it goes way beyond just being passionate about, whatever your core skill is.
This is so critical. The book uses examples like a baker or a chiropractor, people who are amazing at what they do.
Right. Deeply passionate, super skilled in their craft.
But, as it points out, being the best baker or, adjusting backs perfectly doesn't automatically mean you'll succeed in business.
Yeah, that's the key distinction.
Can you market the bakery, handle sales, figure out taxes, deal with hiring, maybe even firing. The book really underlines that this everything else
The non-passion parts.
often eats up most of your time. And that's exactly where so many passionate people stumble. They're so focused on the thing they love.
That they totally underestimate the business skills needed.
Exactly.
So the insight is, yeah, passion gives you the spark, but the business know-how, that's the fuel that keeps the engine running. You need both.
Okay, so let's talk about turning that passion into something that actually, pays the bills. The book brings up this idea of passionate practicality,
Yeah, I like that term.
finding that sweet spot where what you love doing can also realistically make you a good living. Because, let's be real, while passion's great, a big reason people start businesses is often to build financial security, maybe make more money.
And this is where viability and profitability just become non-negotiable. You might love an idea, but if there's no market or you can't price it right to cover costs and make a decent profit.
The passion alone won't keep the lights on.
Exactly. Your pricing has to cover your overhead and reflect the value you're offering to your specific customers.
And pricing is such a tricky balancing act, isn't it? High enough for profit, low enough for people to actually buy.
It really is.
The book uses that example of stores in expensive malls struggling sometimes.
Right. Their overhead is sky high, so prices have to be higher, but they still need enough customers willing to pay that premium.
It perfectly shows that tension between cost, price, and what people think it's worth. Every small business owner deals with that.
It's a constant adjustment. Knowing your costs, knowing your customer, knowing where you fit in the market.
Okay, so passion, check. Committed to learning the business side, check. Thinking hard about viability, check. What about that amazing business idea you've got? Is that the golden ticket?
The big idea myth. The book really tackles that, emphasizing that the idea itself is often the easy part. Successful implementation, that's way, way harder.
Yeah, it echoes Edison, right? 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration.
Exactly. Coming up with it is one thing. The relentless work to make it real is what counts.
So a brilliant idea with no solid plan, no grit to execute, it's just an idea.
Pretty much, success is in the doing.
And the book advises looking around, right? Are there similar businesses already doing this?
Yeah, that's a reality check.
If not, it could mean you're onto something truly innovative, which has perks, like that first mover's advantage. Think Amazon, Post-its.
Pimpers, yeah. Being first lets you shake the market, maybe make huge profits. But as the book cautions, being first usually takes serious cash, a high tolerance for risk, and a real drive to lead and, educate the market.
Right. If you're short on any of those, maybe it's smarter to learn from others first, instead of trying to blaze a totally new trail.
That first mover thing sounds great, but it's demanding.
And the flip side is, maybe there's no competition because the idea just isn't viable.
Ooh, yeah, that's the other possibility. A major red flag, potentially.
So while your gut feeling is valuable, the book really pushes for objectivity. Get honest feedback. Crunch the numbers.
Be a savvy business person, not just someone totally in love with their own idea.
That objectivity is so hard, but so crucial. It's easy to get swept up in your own excitement.
Totally. But getting that feedback, doing the due diligence, can save you so much pain later. Temper the passion with critical analysis. Don't just ask, do I love this? Ask, will customers pay for this?
Okay, speaking of lowering risk, the book talks about calculated business risks versus just gambling.
Important distinction.
And one way to take a more calculated approach, thinking about buying an existing business.
That can be a really smart move. You get a track record, actual financial data to look at, an existing customer base.
Right. It gives you a level of predictability you just don't have starting from absolute zero.
It's like getting a running start, isn't it? Instead of building the whole track yourself, you inherit systems, processes, a reputation can reduce those initial hurdles quite a bit.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if you go down that road, the book flags some key things to think about. Does the business actually fit with your expertise, your skills?
Yeah. Is it retail, wholesale, product, service? What suits you?
And maybe the biggest one, can you genuinely see yourself enjoying this type of work day after day?
That enjoyment factor is huge, often overlooked, but critical for the long haul. You're pouring your life into this. You need to find some fulfillment in it.
It's finding that sweet spot, right? Opportunity meets personal fit. You might find a great deal, but if it doesn't click with your interests, probably not sustainable for you.
Exactly.
The book also dives into due diligence when buying. Stuff you absolutely have to investigate.
Yeah.
Like, who are the competitors? How well does the current owner handle them?
Are there non-transferable intangibles? like the owner's personal contacts that'll vanish when they leave, or unique skills.
Good point. And what about upcoming changes? Neighborhood shifts, new government regulations on the horizon.
All vital questions. You're not just buying assets, you're buying a history and stepping into a specific context. Got to understand the whole
Peeling
point.
back the layers,
Yeah,
right? Understanding the real health, the potential risks. Don't just take their word for it. Dig deep. Verify.
absolutely.
So how do you figure out what a business is actually worth? The book touches on basic valuation methods. One is return on investment, ROI. Simple example. If a business makes a $100,000 net profit a year and the asking price is $200,000, that's a 50% annual ROI. Gives you a quick look at the potential return.
Right, a higher ROI generally looks more attractive, but it is backward-looking, doesn't fully capture future potential or those intangibles.
True. It's a starting point for comparison, needs other factors considered.
Definitely.
Another common method is the multiplier. You take the earnings, usually annual net profit, and multiply it by a factor that's typical for that specific industry.
Okay, so like that $100,000 profit, if the industry multipliers, say, 3.
Then you're looking at a potential valuation around $300,000. But of course, the big question is nailing down the right multiplier for that business in this market.
And that's where industry knowledge, comparable sales, and some informed judgment come in. It's not an exact science. It reflects perceived risk, growth potential in that sector.
Yeah. And the book points to resources like bizcomps.com, bvmarketdata.com for valuation data. So whether you're starting fresh or buying, understanding your market and competition is just fundamental.
Absolutely essential. You can't operate in a bubble.
First step,
Right.
define your target market. Who exactly are you trying to sell to?
Then understand your competitors. What are they great at? Where do they fall short? Their pricing. And crucially, why would a customer choose them? Or why might they switch to you?
It's about finding your niche, knowing your ideal customer, knowing where you fit. That knowledge guides, like, every decision. The book mentions a checklist from Princeton Creative Research for evaluating ideas, and it stresses that understanding your market helps you avoid being overly optimistic.
And warns you about hidden pitfalls.
Yeah. And here's a pro tip from the book. Regularly read trade magazines for your industry.
Oh, definitely. Gold mine of info.
They reveal trends, common mistakes others are making, typical costs in your field. It's like insider intelligence.
Totally. Gives you a window into the language, the challenges, the opportunities everyone's talking about. Invaluable for staying current.
Okay, so you've assessed yourself, got an idea, or looking at businesses, done your market homework. Now, the less glamorous but totally essential part. Planning your startup costs and getting a grip on financials.
Right. The book emphasizes this involves making informed assumptions based on all that research you did, turning the vision into cold, hard numbers.
What's it really going to cost to open the doors?
Yeah.
And it generally breaks down into two buckets, right?
Yeah, those one-time startup costs like legal fees for incorporating security deposits.
And then the ongoing operational costs you face every month. Marketing budget, rent, utilities.
Exactly. It's about creating that detailed financial blueprint. Without it, you're basically just flying blind, hoping for the best. Not a great strategy.
No. The book uses a great example, Perry's Pizza Parlor, to show how to calculate your startup capital needs.
I remember that one.
You add up the one-time costs, the assets you need, ovens, furniture, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But crucially, it stresses factoring in a cushion.
Yeah.
Enough cash to cover about 6 months of those ongoing expenses.
That safety net. In Perry's case, it added up to like nearly $97,000, ideally.
Right. And the book admits, look, not everyone has that ideal cushion. But it warns how much harder it is starting out if you're constantly scrambling for cash.
That 6-month figure isn't random, is it? It gives you runway, time to actually generate sales, build momentum without immediate crushing financial pressure.
Exactly. It lets you navigate those first lean months, tweak your marketing, handle surprises without fearing you'll run out of money tomorrow. Sets you up for survival, hopefully growth.
Definitely.
And speaking of planning, the book hammers home the vital role of a business plan.
Yeah, and it's not just some dusty document you write only if you need funding.
No, it's a tool for sharpening your strategic thinking, really understanding your market, grasping how your whole business works.
It forces you to think critically about every single part. Your target market, competition, realistic financials, operational strategies. It cuts down the risk of those, pie-in-the-sky scenarios.
It's your roadmap, basically. Clarifies your vision, flags potential roadblocks, outlines the steps to get there. Without it, you're kind of starting a journey with no map, no destination.
Well put.
And it's absolutely non-negotiable if you want outside funding.
Yeah.
Banks, SBA, angel investors, even family. They all want to see a solid plan, proof you've done your homework.
For investors, it's their main tool to see if your vision is grounded, if it has a reasonable shot at success at generating a return for them.
The book highlights two big downsides of not having one. Way higher risk of failure and almost zero chance of attracting serious investors. It's like your business's resume. Got to be compelling.
Totally.
And the plan needs key elements. Realistic financial projections based on research, deep market and competitor analysis showing you understand industry norms.
Right. Glean from looking at similar businesses, trade associations.
Conservative sales estimates, clear strategies for sales, distribution, pricing. It forces you down into the nitty-gritty.
And that level of detail is what separates a viable idea from just a wishful thought. It's where the rubber meets the road, planning-wise.
It translates the big vision into actual steps, actual targets.
Yeah.
The more detail, the more clarity, the more confidence it builds in you and in others.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's zoom in on one of the very first big decisions. Choosing the legal structure for your business.
Foundational stuff.
The book gives an overview: sole proprietorship, partnership, LLC, limited liability company, or incorporating as a C Corp or S Corp. Big decision. Big legal and financial implications down the line.
It really is. Sole proprietorship is simplest, easiest to set up.
But zero legal separation between your personal assets and business debts. You're personally on the hook for everything.
Right. Partnerships let you pool resources, expertise, but also come with risks. Often, each partner can be liable for all the business debts, even stuff the other partners did.
Oof, yeah. That initial structure choice impacts taxes, liability, admin burden. Not something to just gloss over.
Definitely not.
Then you get into the more formal structures. Corporations, C or S, and LLCs. Their main goal: limiting that personal liability.
Shielding your personal assets.
The book mentions the double taxation whammy that can hit C Corps, the corporation pays tax, then shareholders pay tax again on dividends.
Which often makes S Corp more attractive for smaller businesses.
Exactly. S Corps give you that liability shield, but the profits and losses flow through to your personal tax return. Avoids the corporate level tax. Generally a good fit for many small to mid-sized businesses.
So the choice often comes down to balancing liability protection with tax efficiency and how much admin complexity you want.
And LLC, as the book notes, have become super popular. They're like a hybrid.
Right. Liability protection like a corporation.
But more informal structure, more flexible tax options, kind of like a sole proprietorship or partnership, often seen as the best of both worlds.
That flexibility in choosing how you're taxed as an LLC is a big plus. Lets you tailor it to your situation.
Yeah, the flexibility and protection make LLCs really appealing for lots of small business owners, wanting to safeguard personal assets but keep things relatively simple.
Good summary.
Okay, structure chosen.
Yeah.
Now, the really big question for most startups: how do you actually get the money to start? Funding.
Yes. Beyond just draining your savings.
The book explores options, but offers a really strong warning about relying too heavily on your home equity.
Critical point. Seems easy access, but...
You're putting your family's home security at direct risk if the business fails. The book strongly advises against it if possible. The potential consequences are just devastating.
It's a massive gamble. The potential downside of losing your home just outweighs the benefit for most new ventures.
Another tempting but potentially dangerous route: credit cards.
So common, so easy to reach for.
The book acknowledges that, but lays out a sobering example. Charge just $7,000 on a card at, say, 17% interest.
Uh-oh.
And only make minimum payments. Could take over 40 years to pay off. And you'd pay nearly $14,000 in interest alone.
Wow. That really shows the hidden long-term cost. Seems like a quick fix, but can create serious, long-lasting financial trouble, personally and for the business.
Yeah, the convenience masks the high cost for long-term financing. That interest just eats into profits.
Creates a huge burden.
Getting traditional bank loans for brand new startups, also tough.
Right. No operating history, no track record of profit. Banks are naturally cautious.
They prefer established businesses with assets, collateral. And even if they do lend to a startup, they often demand a personal guarantee.
Which kind of defeats the purpose of incorporating to limit your liability in the first place, puts your personal finances right back on the line.
It's a catch-22, isn't it? Need funding to build the track record, but lack the track record to get the funding without risking personal assets.
Exactly.
And that's where the Small Business Administration, the SBA, comes in.
Lifeline for many.
The book highlights key SBA loan programs. The main one is the 7A Loan Guarantee Program. It can be used for lots of startup stuff, working capital, equipment, even real estate. Often has better, longer repayment terms than banks.
That 7A loan is fundamental. The SBA guarantee makes lenders more willing to work with small businesses, especially startups, who might otherwise seem too risky.
The SBA basically acts as a partner, sharing some risk with the lender. Makes capital more accessible.
Yeah.
Besides the 7A, there's the 7-year microloan program. Smaller amounts, specific uses, often through non-traditional community lenders who also offer training.
Helpful for smaller needs and often comes with extra support.
And for big assets, real estate, machinery, there's the 504 Certified Development Company, CDC loan program.
Right. And it's worth remembering the SBA's whole mission, since way back in '53, is to help small businesses grow.
These programs are invaluable, provide access to capital that might just not be available otherwise for new and growing businesses.
Definitely opens doors for entrepreneurs who don't meet strict traditional bank criteria.
Okay, funding, hopefully, secured. Now, where are you actually going to set up shop? Location, location, location.
Critical decision can be make or break.
Key things to consider: visibility to customers, accessibility for customers and suppliers, parking, foot traffic for retail.
Your location affects everything: customer convenience, operating cost, even your brand image. Needs careful thought.
And you need to check the reputation of a spot, right?
Yeah.
Avoid places with a history of failures or bad vibes.
Yeah, definitely. And while cheap rent is tempting,
The book warns against the false economy of a cheap spot in a bad area, often a path to failure no matter how good your product is.
so true.
Plus, got to check zoning. Does it even allow your type of business there?
Essential. And then the practical stuff. Can employees and suppliers get there easily? Enough space for shipping, receiving, environmental issues, internet wiring? Room to expand later?
Overlooking those practicalities can cause major headaches and unexpected costs later.
For sure.
So you find a potential spot. Now, negotiating the lease can feel intimidating.
Yeah, but the book has empowering advice. Almost everything is negotiable.
Right. Landlords need good, reliable tenants just as much as you need a space. That gives you leverage.
It's a business deal. Both sides have needs. Don't be afraid to push for terms that work for your business.
The book suggests negotiating points, like getting a few months free rent up front,
Nice cushion while setting up.
getting a lease term that's long enough to get established, but not so long you feel trapped.
Smart. And making sure you have the right to assign or sublet if your plans change.
Crucial flexibility. And here's maybe the most important advice. Get all oral promises in writing in the final lease.
Absolutely non-negotiable. Verbal agreements are so hard to enforce later. Spell everything out clearly in the written document. Protects both sides. Avoids misunderstandings.
Okay. Location sorted. Now, how do potential customers know who you are, what you offer, why choose you? Branding.
Your business's identity.
The book explains branding starts with defining your essence. What is your business? What makes it unique? Who's your ideal customer? What need you fill for them?
It's how customers perceive you. And so many decisions, name, logo, pricing, even location, hinge on the brand identity you're building.
Yeah.
It's more than just a logo. It's the whole customer experience.
The book uses that great example. A no-frills discount motorcycle warehouse versus a high-end Harley showroom.
Totally different vibe, different customer interaction, different experience, all driven by brand.
When it comes to naming, two paths.
Mm-hmm.
Descriptive, clearly says what you do. Or abstract, like Xerox, Amazon.
Abstract can be cool, memorable.
But the book warns they usually need a much bigger marketing budget to build recognition, explain what you actually do.
Right. For a small business without huge resources, a descriptive name often helps communicate your value proposition much faster, saves marketing dollars.
Good point. And once you nail down your name, logo, slogan, consistency is key.
Across everything: stationery, signs, website, invoices, marketing.
But branding isn't just visuals. It's how you want to be perceived versus how you are perceived based on customer experiences. Requires substance behind the style, delivering on your promises.
Your brand is that promise. Consistency in message and delivery builds trust, strengthens the identity.
It's about creating that cohesive, memorable impression, making sure every interaction reinforces your values.
Well said.
Now, to deliver on that brand promise, you need suppliers. How do you find good ones?
Book suggests starting with referrals, ideally from non-competing businesses in related fields.
Smart. Internet groups, industry trade shows are good too. Supplier directories like Thomas Register.
Referrals are great for firsthand experience. Trade shows let you see lots of options, make connections. Building strong supplier relationships is key for quality, consistency, cost control.
And if you sell physical goods, inventory management. The book advises prioritizing based on sales data. That 80-20 rule often applies.
Yeah, 80% of sales often come from 20% of products. Focus there.
And you need an inventory control system. Could be a simple spreadsheet or something integrated into accounting software like QuickBooks.
Absolutely key for cost control, avoiding stockouts, knowing what's actually selling. Helps optimize cash flow, reduce waste, meet demand.
Okay, let's talk pricing again, specifically for profitability. Linked to brand, right? Gourmet boutique versus warehouse prices.
Exactly. And the psychology odd pricing, $9.99, bundled lots, it matters.
And analyzing competitor pricing is a must. Know what rivals charge, then position yourselves. Undercut. Match, but offer more value.
But the book warns strongly against always trying to be the cheapest, that race to the bottom.
Right. Can attract only price-sensitive, disloyal customers. Can deter people looking for quality or service.
Competing just on price erodes margins, makes it hard to invest in quality. Value price, quality, experience combined is more sustainable.
Good point. The book suggests maybe charging extra for rush orders, emergency service.
Recognizes the added value for the customer.
And be strategic about negotiating prices. Better to make a sale at a slightly lower price than lose it completely, but constant deep discounts devalue you.
Tricky balance.
It also covers the loss leader strategy. Big discount on one item to get people in the door.
Hoping they buy other, more profitable stuff.
But got to make sure it drives overall profit. And crucially, actually have the advertised item in stock.
Yes. Never advertise what you don't have. A well-run loss leader can drive traffic, but needs careful management.
And for service businesses wanting higher prices, tips like transparent pricing upfront, free initial consult to build rapport, maybe start with a smaller project, offer guarantees.
All build perceived value. Transparency and trust are key to commanding higher service fees. Customers pay more if they're confident in the value.
Absolutely. Minimizing perceived risk justifies premium pricing.
Yeah.
Now, technology. Huge transformer for small businesses today.
Totally leveled the playing field.
The book highlights the computer internet revolution. Let small businesses look and act much bigger than they are.
Effective tech boosts efficiency, expands reach, improves customer interaction regardless of size.
It mentions benefits of wireless networks, mobility, GPS for mobile teams, video conferencing for cost-effective communication.
And internets for internal communication sharing, updates, reports, policies efficiently, especially with remote teams.
It recommends software like Microsoft Office Small Business Edition, accounting options like MYOB Plus, or simply accounting business planning software.
Website tools like NetObjects, Fusion, e-commerce like Yahoo, small business.
And stresses the absolute need for robust antivirus and anti-spyware.
Non-negotiable today. Investing in the right tech isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's essential for competing, operating efficiently, protecting your data.
Definitely. Strong security is paramount against online threats.
Right.
Okay, back to finance accounting. Maybe not exciting for everyone.
Unless you're an accountant.
Right. But essential for tracking performance, profitability. It's doing what you must, not what you love.
It's the scorecard for your business. Shows if you're actually making money, where you need to adjust. Consistent, accurate records are the foundation for informed decisions.
Key tasks. Tracking all income, all expenses, advertising, auto, insurance, rent, utilities.
And budgeting. Controlling expenses, making sure they don't constantly outrun revenue.
Choosing a good accountant is crucial too. Someone you trust, who acts as an advisor, not just a record keeper.
A good accountant offers insights, strategic guidance on taxes, financial health, much more than number crunching.
And the book has tips for cutting accounting costs. Keep organized records yourself. Use your accountant strategically for high-level advice, not just data entry.
Being organized saves time and money on fees. A proactive accountant is a huge asset. Navigating finance, optimizing profit.
We touched on pricing for profit. Book circles back. Reiterates, knowing your break-even point is fundamental.
Right. The sales level, where revenue exactly covers costs. Starting point for pricing strategy.
And suggests testing price increases cautiously. Maybe on a small customer group first, gauge reaction.
Knowing break-even gives that benchmark. Testing changes minimizes negative impact before a full rollout.
Interesting concept the book introduces. Open book management, OBM.
Yeah, sharing financial info with employees to boost engagement, motivation, give them a stake in success.
can foster ownership, shared responsibility. They see how their work impacts the bottom line.
And it suggests practical ways to cut overhead. Trim non-essential supplies, maybe rent out unused space.
Those small savings add up.
Definitely.
Now, the question every owner asks, how do I pay myself?
Right. For sole proprietors, partners, there's flexibility based on profit, business needs.
But a caveat for LLCs with multiple owners, got to ensure the business stays solvent after distributions.
And the book warns against paying yourself inconsistently based just on monthly income swings. Risky.
Also warns about IRS scrutiny of excessive owner pay in C-Corp, especially if it looks like avoiding corporate tax. Stay within industry norms.
Important to be consistent, reasonable. Consider personal needs and the business's long-term health. Don't just pull funds randomly.
Setting a regular, appropriate salary helps manage personal finances, gives a clearer picture of true business profitability.
Good practice.
Need business credit later. Book explains the 4 C's lenders look at. Capacity, can you repay based on cash flow? Character, credit history, collateral asset securing the loan, and capital, your investment, loan purpose.
Startups often struggle with capacity due to limited history.
Advises checking your business credit, Dun & Bradstreet, fixing errors, and have a solid reason and plan when asking for a loan.
Understanding the lender's view and addressing those 4 C's boosts your chances. Show financial responsibility, clear repayment plan.
Alternative to debt, equity financing, selling part ownership for capital.
Often for growth stage businesses with potential but maybe not qualifying for big loans yet.
Common sources, family, friends, associates, industry colleagues.
Then professional investors. VCs, venture capitalists, groups investing in high-growth companies, often 3 of 5 years old with solid plans.
And angel investors, wealthy individuals investing their own money in early-stage opportunities.
Equity provides capital without debt burden, but means sharing ownership, potentially control. Need to be comfortable with that dilution.
Quick point. Accepting credit cards. Almost essential now.
Proven to increase sales. Convenience is huge for consumers. Worth the processing costs, usually. Failing to accept them puts you at a big disadvantage.
Okay, finally on finance. Business insurance. Can seem overwhelming.
So many options.
Book highlights essentials. Health insurance for employees, crucial benefit. Business owner insurance, catch-all for fire, mishaps, liability.
Liability insurance itself is vital, protects against customer injuries, property damage on your premises, or from your operations.
Workers' comp, legally required for employees, covers on-the-job injuries.
Product liability, if you sell products, protects against claims from defective items causing harm.
And term life insurance for the owner. Affordable, protects family, sometimes required for loans. Better than whole life, you saved money in the business.
Insurance is that critical safety net. Protects against potentially devastating risks. A crucial investment in long-term security. Could be the difference between surviving a setback and closing down.
Okay, shifting gears to taxes. Often complex, maybe intimidating.
But understanding deductions is key.
The book lists tons of legitimate deductible expenses. Advertising, car use, insurance, rent, utilities, inventory, equipment, payroll, home office, if qualified.
Travel, meals, business-related. Staff entertainment, like parties, often 100% deductible. Business losses can sometimes offset personal income. Loan interest.
Charitable contributions, professional fees, accountant, lawyer. Small gifts, up to $25. Bank charges, subscriptions, theft losses, commissions, website costs, parking tolls, seminars, bus fare.
Wow, quite a list.
But the absolute crucial thing the book stresses, meticulous record keeping.
Receipts, canceled checks, statements, everything. Your best defense if you're ever audited.
Totally. It also mentions quarterly estimated tax payments if you expect to owe over a certain amount annually.
And retirement plans for the self-employed. KEO plans, SEP IRAs, solo 401k, great ways to reduce taxable income.
The KEOs can be complex, and usually if you offer a plan to yourself, you need to offer it to eligible employees too, except Roth IRA contributions, which aren't deductible anyway.
Proper records are non-negotiable. And those retirement plans offer significant tax advantages. Save for the future, cut current taxes. Navigating taxes is complex, so understanding deductions, keeping records is vital for compliance, and minimizing your burden.
All right, let's touch on legal stuff. Often overlooked, but so important.
Having a basic understanding of business law helps avoid problems, costly disputes.
We live in a litigious world. Businesses are often seen as deep pockets. But remember, this is educational info, not personalized legal advice. See a lawyer for that.
Good disclaimer.
Book covers contract basics, Need an offer, acceptance, and consideration. Something of value exchanged.
It mentions promissory estoppel, too, an exception where relying on a promise to your detriment can make it binding, even without strict consideration.
Advises negotiating standard contracts, not just signing blindly. Modify unfavorable clauses.
And minimizing product liability risk. Avoid defective products, provide clear warnings, be careful with promotions, use disclaimers, specify product lifespan maybe.
Proactive legal steps save time, money, stress. Understanding contracts, mitigating liability, protect your business.
A little legal awareness goes a long way.
Employment law basics. At-will employment is standard mostly. Can terminate for almost any non-discriminatory, non-retaliatory reason unless the contract says otherwise.
But be careful not to create implied contracts of continued employment through handbook language or promises.
It outlines the two types of sexual harassment: quid pro quo, this for that, and hostile work environment, pervasive unwelcome conduct. Applies to same-sex harassment too.
And warns against deceptive advertising or pricing, cites legal blowback like that 1,000 bananas car deal.
Addresses ex-employees competing. Legality of non-competent on-disclosure agreements varies by state, like California's restrictions. Exit interviews are key to remind departing staff of obligations.
Navigating employment law is tricky. Clear legal policies, understanding rights and responsibilities are crucial.
Ultimately, find a good attorney you trust with relevant experience. They're an invaluable advisor, a critical safeguard. Investing in good counsel early saves bigger headaches later.
Absolutely.
Okay, getting the word out. Advertising and marketing. Book differentiates branding campaigns, long-term recognition, from direct response ads, immediate action.
Covers traditional media, newspapers, cost per inch, placement matters, TV, powerful but pricey, maybe cable off-peak, radio, targeted audiences, cost varies. Yellow pages, less relevant now with online search.
For small budgets, even small, well-placed newspaper ads with great headlines can work.
TV is often too expensive, but cable or off hours might be options. Radio costs depend heavily on market and station.
Successful ad strategies. Compelling headline, focus on benefits, interest, desire, clear offer, strong call to action, and test ads small scale first, like with classifieds.
Testing optimizes spending, maximizes return. And if doing significant advertising, maybe consider an agency experienced with small businesses. A well-crafted, targeted campaign is essential for awareness and sales.
But marketing is broader than just ads, right?
Definitely. Must reinforce brand identity. Unified message across everything.
Marketing campaign steps. Plan, select media, create materials, test, roll out. Surprisingly few small businesses have a formal marketing plan.
Book advises developing multiple marketing methods, creates diverse profit centers, helps weather cycles.
Need a clear elevator pitch? Articulate your value quickly.
Shares inspiring examples, like Radam's Paraz business, showing power of partnerships, word of mouth.
Discusses direct marketing, mailers, flyers, coupons, to reach qualified prospects. Test offers. No typical response rates.
Effective offers answer what's in it for me. Grab attention, conversational tone, build credibility, testimonials, guarantees, create urgency.
Tips for sales events. Brochures still valuable for some businesses.
And the power of publicity, press releases, media outreach, cost-effective buzz generation like Krispy Kreme's early days.
Then SEO basics. Keywords, selection, placement and meta title tags, search engine spiders indexing, importance of quality inbound links.
Strategy for getting links. Contact high-ranked sites. Suggest reciprocal linking.
Online ads like pay-per-click, PPC, drive targeted traffic. Shares Jeff Bezos' philosophy. Offer something unique online you can't replicate offline. Uses speakermatch.com as an example.
Introduces drop shipping, low inventory online model, and eBay as an easy, cheap, extra profit center, especially for old stock.
Effective marketing is integrated, uses multiple channels, builds relationships, communicates value. Publicity is powerful, cost-effective, and a strong online presence, SEO, ads. It's crucial today.
It's about consistently communicating value and building lasting customer relationships.
Book briefly covers exiting a business too. Selling, business brokers can help, or last resort, bankruptcy. Chapter 7, liquidation, 11, corporate reorganization, 12, farmers, 13, smaller companies sold prop reorganization. Mentions the automatic stay.
Exit strategies matter long-term. Good to think about even early on. Influences decisions, helps build a more valuable business.
We covered hiring, managing employees earlier. Key takeaway: hire for skill and cultural fit. Consider personality.
3 steps. Prep. Job description skills, screen applications, interview effectively. Probe responsibility, reasons for leaving, qualifications, personality. No discrimination.
Consider legal docs, NDAs, invention assignments, employment contracts with at-will clauses where possible.
Firing guidelines. Valid, documented reason, not discrimination, retaliation. Follow procedures. Consistent treatment. Extra caution with protected classes. Employees are vital assets. Hire well. Part ways legally, ethically.
Building a strong team is essential. Managing departures professionally minimizes risks.
Right.
Employee benefits beyond salary help attract retain talent. Stock options, ESOPs, ownership stake, 401ks, consult a planner.
Health insurance highly valued. Costs rising. Different plans.
Yeah.
HMO, PPO, HSA. Paid time off. Vacation sick. Holidays. Maybe flexible policies.
Intangible benefits matter too. Flex hours, telecommuting, casual dress, extra time off for goals met, tuition reimbursement. Comprehensive benefits boost satisfaction, loyalty.
Investing in employee well-being increases productivity, reduces turnover.
Training and motivation are key after hiring. Thorough initial training, especially customer-facing roles, uses Nancy Clark's dance store example.
Cover attitude, products, money handling, operations, sales techniques. Shadowing helps. Ongoing training retains staff, develops skills, train to retain.
Motivation strategies, contests, achievable goals, good prizes, low-cost appreciation, verbal thanks, recognition, small perks.
Create an inspiring company mission statement based on values, dreams, market. Make it central. Investing in employees means better service, efficiency, positive environment.
A well-trained, motivated workforce is a huge competitive advantage.
Absolutely.
Principles for extraordinary sales service. Ask questions, listen, build rapport, inform without pressure, ensure departing customers feel satisfied, go the extra mile, focus on repeat customers, make them feel welcome, appreciated, continuously improve based on feedback.
Exceptional service builds loyalty, positive word of mouth. Happy customers are your best advocates. In today's market, outstanding service is a key differentiator.
Different path. Franchises. Buying a recipe for a business may be lower risk than starting from scratch.
Good franchisors offer strong support. Assistance, communication, training, site selection, lease help, financing guidance.
Research thoroughly. Meet franchisors and existing franchisees. Review the UFO CFDD carefully, potential profits, turnover rates, franchise contacts, financials.
Understand the fees. Initial fee, royalties, ad fees, build-out costs, secrets to success. Understand the system, advertise efficiently and locally. Location is critical.
Franchising offers a proven model, brand recognition, but requires adherence to the system, sharing revenue. Due diligence is vital.
It can be a shortcut, but you're following someone else's rules.
Home-based businesses. Popular, flexible cost savings, but challenges too, work-life balance, setting boundaries.
Need the right insurance. Homeowner's policy likely won't cover business risks.
Strategies. Dedicated workspace, professional appearance, manage mail phone professionally, remote access tools. Get help, contractors, employees, when you outgrow capacity.
Longevity growth strategies. Add profit centers, new product services, new marketing, niche down, raising rates, reasonable notice, professional communication, justify based on industry costs.
Home businesses offer flexibility, but need discipline, clear boundaries for professionalism and productivity.
Right. Can be a great way to start.
Finally, the shoestring entrepreneur, starting with limited funds. Challenging, but possible.
Shares inspiring stories. Lillian Vernon, Silly Putty, Arnold Goldstein, early real estate FHA loans.
5 rules for shoestring success. Believe in tiny beginnings. Leverage other people's money, OPM. Extreme frugality, sweat equity, relentless sales.
Finding investors when small. Look professional. Plan, pitch, know your market. Maybe find a partner with capital. Use the Xerox example. Carlson invented, Odlum funded.
Creative financing. Leverage suppliers, consignment, security interest. Buying existing business with limited funds. Seller financing, assume debt. Liquidate inventory. Broker supplier financing.
Starting lean forces creativity, efficiency. Necessity is the mother of invention. Resourcefulness, determination, focus are key.
Lots of low-cost marketing tactics for shoestring budgets. Cable TV, late-night niche, newspapers, small ads, good headlines, premium placement cheap. Radio, negotiate rates, off-peak times, toll-free numbers.
Publicity, press releases, kits, print, e-newsletters, physical ones with testimonials, networking groups, volunteering, events, social media, seminars for service businesses. Become the expert. Write. Speak.
Create board of advisors. Systematize the business for efficient scalability. Marketing doesn't always need big bucks. Creativity, strategy, relationship building are powerful on a budget.
Absolutely. Resourcefulness goes a long way.
The book wraps up with success secrets too. Vision and boldness. shifting focus from tactics to the importance of long-term vision, purpose, and the boldness to pursue it.
Business as a means to an end, driven by a dream, not just immediate profits. References built to last, best companies, driven by vision beyond profit.
Emphasizes all big companies started small, grew by sticking to their vision, aiming to make a difference for stakeholders.
Uses Ford's perseverance, HP's experimentation as examples. Never give up on the core vision, even when it's tough.
Encourages you, the listener. Be your best, dream big, commit to goals, involve your team, embrace experimentation, learn from failure, ensure your business reflects your highest values.
Reiterates the power of boldness, genius, magic, and power in it. Ends with Teflon's serendipitous discovery.
Ultimately, vision is the compass. Guides decisions, inspires you and your team, helps overcome challenges, and a little boldness, calculated risk-taking goes a long way.
A strong vision provides the why, fuels passion, guides actions. Boldness lets you seize opportunities others might miss.
So wrapping up our deep dive into the Small Business Bible, we've seen entrepreneurship as, well, a lot. Demands self-assessment, ongoing learning, that blend of practical strategy and long-term vision.
Thorough planning, deep understanding financials, legal, marketing, operations fundamental for sustainability.
And it's personal, right? No single formula. Whether bootstrapping, buying, or franchising, the core principles hold. Planning, market awareness, focusing on customer value, constant guiding stars.
Yeah.
This dive was for you, listener. Aiming for practical info, clarity, maybe some inspiration for your own journey in this exciting, sometimes daunting small business world.
And that kind of leaves us with a final thought for you. In today's always changing competitive world, how will you personally find and keep that crucial balance between meticulous planning and the bold visionary thinking that truly makes a business stand out and have a lasting impact?
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.